And now on Nights with Steve Price from the 50-Up Club, Christopher Zinn.
We catch up with Christopher every Thursday night. How are you?
Yes, very well, thank you, Steve.
Now, this is a topic close to my heart, given that I am certainly in the 50-Up Club. I am over the age of 50. Most people know exactly how old I am. Keeping fit at our age is something that I think is really important. I attempt to do, without fail, at least 2 to 3 days a week of some exercise that creates perspiration, if not sweat. And I think many people in my age bracket are much fitter than what our parents were at our age.
Definitely. And actually, it is best investment you ever make. We often talk in 50-Up Club about money or, material things. But actually, it almost sounds a cliche, but your health is something that's more valuable than anything. And if you don't have your health, the costs and the inconvenience and the misery just mount up. So, yeah, I suppose the point we want to make is that you don't have to be fast or even fit. You just have to make a start and do something. And you can build on it from there as you see fit. But the advice is even a small amount of exercise, does make a difference in terms of your longevity, your heart, your happiness, everything.
One of the interesting things is there's a survey that you point out that's from BT Financial Health Index this week, and I hadn't actually given this a lot of thought, but now that I see what they've looked at, it makes absolute sense, and that is there's a direct link between your financial health and your physical health, and I presume the key to that is if you keep yourself healthy and you're not getting sick, you're not running up health bills.
Yeah, the correlation which they point out is those who are under financial stress have a great likelihood to also have some physical stress and be physically unfit. Now, I'm not sure if it works the other way around because you can be very fit and perhaps still in financial stress. But there's no doubt that there is some correlation. If it's a causation, who knows? But certainly if you can get, your physical fitness together, that can have an impact on other parts of your life too. And there's no doubt that being financially stressed does, have undoubted health implications too.
Whenever we talk about physical activity for people over 50, over 60, over 70, and there'd be people listening to us tonight who haven't done anything for a long time, it is really important, and all the health gurus tell me this constantly, that there's a number of things you have to be careful. You just can't suddenly go, okay, I'm not going to be a couch potato anymore. I'm going to go out tomorrow and I'm going to run 5Ks, because you'll end up having a heart attack and you'll be transported off to hospital. So you've actually got to do a whole lot of stuff before you start exercise again if you've been doing nothing, don't you?
Exactly. I mean, look, some people, it might be going to see your GP, get some advice there. There's some great advice, and we've got some links on the 50-Up Club site in terms of advice, exercise for the over 50s. Take it easy, take it gently. You don't have to do a marathon straight off. No, you're not going to be able to. Be realistic. But the point is, it's like, I keep coming up across this fable in life all the time. It's the tortoise and the hare. Really, we need to be tortoises, not hares. And just as long as we're going, we'll get ahead. Those people who rush and try and do it all at once often fall prey to injury or they get distracted or whatever. So, yeah, take it easy, take it step by step. And as long as you keep doing it, the benefits do compound.
Well, the GP visit, I think what I would suggest to people, if you think you're doing this, is go to your GP, and the first thing you need to do is get the GP to take your blood pressure and then advise you on what your peak heart rate ought to be when you're in physical exercise. Then go and buy yourself, and they can be very cheap, a heart rate monitor and a heart rate watch, whack it on your wrist, and the doc says you get to 160 over whatever. That's about as high as you should go. Back off when you get to that. Don't keep going at that very long.
Yeah, exactly. And look, a lot of the benefits don't come from, absolutely flogging yourself. It don't have to be at peak heart rate, endlessly. It can actually be just doing a lot can make a big difference. And look, there's all sorts of, as ever with exercise, as with food and diets, all sorts of exercise, but seek the advice of the professionals. Although I would also add that, if you look at some of these websites, they'll give lots of warnings for the over 50. That's fair enough. But the risk of not doing anything, i.e. staying couch potato, is greater than the risk of actually doing something, as long as you do it in a moderate and mindful and, sensible way.
Talking to Christopher Zinn from 50-Up Club, and it doesn't need to be expensive. We're not saying you've got to go and join one of those expensive gyms or hire yourself a personal trainer. I mean, I would say talk to an expert at least once and get them to give you some sort of program, because otherwise you're just going to be floundering around. But get yourself a program that is that fits your lifestyle and try and stick to that.
And yeah, I'd echo that. And I'd also say what's worked for me is join in with other people. If you're doing it alone, that's quite hard. But there are other groups of people, and I've just this year got into a running club, which turned me from a jogger to a runner. And look, that has people in their 80s who shuffle at a very moderate pace and people in their 20s who are much faster. But you know what? It doesn't matter because everyone's in the club and there's no competitiveness in that sense. But the fact that they do it and they train together and we go on runs actually makes it much easier to not just start something but carry on with it and then really see the benefit.
And make sure you get yourself the proper gear. I mean, if you're going to do it, get yourself a decent pair of running shoes. And if you're going to do it regularly like you do and do a lot of running, you've probably got to turn them over every 6 months or so.
Yeah, exactly. But those, you can get decent running shoes at not a great price. There's a great selection in the market. It does need a little bit of investment, but as I say, the payoffs in so many ways, at least for me, but I think if you look at the scientific evidence, is manifold in various areas of our lives.
City to Surf's on not this weekend, the weekend after. I've done that a couple of times. I've walked it a couple of times. I've run it once, although I must admit I walked up Heartbreak Hill. You're running this year. It's 14 Ks, isn't it?
It is. It's 14 Ks. I live at Bondi, so this will be about my 20th time, but I'm actually doing it as a runner this time as opposed to a jogger, so that might make a bit of difference. But we're going to have a 50-up club tent, not a marquee, but a tent at the end on the grass, so we'd really welcome anyone who's done it to pop in and we can say how do and give a few people a T-shirt and have some fun as well.
And you're going to have sausage sizzle there?
Yeah, although I've just heard in the fine print that we might not actually be allowed to do a sausage sizzle. So I might find some beef jerky or something that actually isn't on the list of things that you can't do that they haven't thought of.
Great to catch up, mate.
Okay, all the best. And just go to the 50Up Club website. That will give you more details on that exercise and how to get and stay fit, I hope.
No drama. Thank you, Christopher.
Thank you, Steve.